Okay, welcome to it's Sunday, isn't it? Sunday nights, no holds barred, support stroke discussion meeting really. Um, we're joined today by Cherry Gillings, who's a good friend of ours. She works closely with a lot of people. She'll explain more to you about that than me. I met Cherry first when she come on some of our training, which was a real enjoying time. She was brilliant. She was really good on it. So yeah, it'd just be nice to get her point of view on some of the stuff that maybe we've been talking about, and maybe get a woman's point of view on maybe what we're trying to achieve. I know we came into this as a men's support group, but then lots happened since, hasn't it? And we just want to try and be a support group in general, really. Um, so it's just nice to get Cherry on, really. So yeah, welcome, Cherry. How you doing?
I'm good, Ian. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me.
Good, good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Matt, George, what do we call you? How are you doing today, mate?
Good, thanks, mate. Taking over.
Taking
Had a
over.
good day, really. Spoke to some good friends. Chilled out. Been around the kids. It's been good.
Good
Good
stuff.
times.
Good stuff. Okay, so I'll start off with the way we normally start off, really. Have you seen this book, Cherry? This All Aboard.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've
Good.
seen your. So I've seen the last two episodes of this session,
Yeah.
and I was saying to Matt, I like how you start with the reading from All on the Boards.
It's
I
good.
like it. Stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not fully versed on what it's about, but I think it started sort of 2015. A couple of guys.
You keep freezing. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know. I think my internet might be going down a little bit. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started in 2015. A couple of guys who worked on the tube. And it's funny because now I was on the tube on Friday. I was in London on Friday, and I notice it now. I look at the boards more now. Do you know what I mean? Because of this, but I've never seen anything on it. But and I just thought how it must have felt for somebody to sort of get off the tube and read one of these boards, when normally you'd be looking at district lines closed down and blah blah, and then all of a sudden you've got this sort of message on there. And you think that's really cool, man. And I think one of the guys had somebody jump in front of his train, and it sort of knocked him about quite a bit. So this is what I started doing. So I'll share my screen. So hopefully you guys can see this. You got that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't control what's happening in the world at the moment. We can't control the lies and the truth, but we can control what we decide to do with our time between our own four walls and roof and the roof. We can't control people's behaviour. We can't control what others do and how they live, but we can control how much news we watch and listen to by doing things we enjoy indoors and not focusing on negative. Any comments from that? Matt?
Oh. Really, no. Because I just like, I'm just like sitting with it right now, if I'm honest.
What, mate?
Sitting with it right now, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Cherry?
So what it brings to mind for me is the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah.
To accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change what we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And what's on this All on the Board is a whole heap of those differences, because oftentimes people doubt the difference, don't they?
Yeah.
And they get into trying to control how other people are behaving and how other people are thinking and other people's opinions. And actually, this is a bit of a direction that says, you know what? You can't do that, but here's what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you think? Obviously, a lot of what we're speaking about is flavoured by the pandemic, maybe. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah.
and I'm wondering how much that might be affecting people within their houses and how they are behaving. And I don't know. Has anybody noticed anything themselves or about themselves? Even, even more so about. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest, right? There's parts of me that sort of uses it as an excuse. To be fair, and it's like, oh well, there's a pandemic on, we're in lockdown. There's not as much expectation on you, I don't think, is that to perform in life. Do you know what I mean? Am I saying that the right way?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like we kind of easily use it as an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like we've got a ready-made excuse to go to, haven't we, with the pandemic being on. Hi, Mark, how you doing, mate?
Hi, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, we've got like a
Can you hear me?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, ready-made excuse that, well, there's a pandemic on, we're in lockdown. I'm not going to get that done, mate. But it's backfired on me because really I'm stuck in the house all the time. I should have got all the decorating done. But instead, I'm like, yeah, but B&Q, it's a nightmare. Not really, but I'm not saying it very well. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm finding that it's starting to become a bit of an excuse not to do stuff.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that for lots of women, they're trying to, especially the ones that are not furloughed as well, they're working from home. They're trying to homeschool children. They're trying to keep homes together. And they're exhausted.
Yeah.
There's no let up from it. So far from being an excuse in that way, it's become an increasingly heavy burden. So it makes me think about, that story of the glass and the teacher at the front of the class who says, how heavy is this glass? And the kids are saying stuff like it's half full, it's whatever, half empty. And she's like, it doesn't really matter because however long I hold it, it gets heavier.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit like the pandemic, the lockdown, and all of the kind of restrictions and limitations around it. Like the more we hold it, the heavier it's getting. So the longer people are trying to hold on to working from home, the longer they hold on to educating their kids at home. And, let's face it, most of us, like school today is like how many miles away from when we were at school. And it seems that people expected this thing to end sooner. And they anticipated, okay, in a couple of months, it'll all be over. And then in a couple of months, it'll all be over. And then here we are, a whole year later. A whole year later. It's getting quite heavy, and people are I think that's what I'm noticing the most, is that people are quite exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, I get that completely with the homeschooling thing, because it's not been a problem for me because I haven't had to work from home that way. But my wife, and I really, she's a hero, to be fair. She's done the best she can. But I think where you see things happen, like she has to work 5 days a week also, and then try and homeschool. And then what happens is, because, and it starts to happen. She starts to see things on Facebook, like these kids are winning excellent awards, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're doing these amazing projects, and it's making her feel guilty.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't do that. And then, and look, kids are kids, aren't they? So they're going to blag it, aren't they? Simple as that. And then there's anger coming in, there's shouting. And it just feels like we were talking about it on site the other day, about how everywhere seems to feel like a bit of a pressure cooker at the minute. Everywhere feels like it's about to blow up.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I get that sense sometimes at home, and it's not something that I keep a secret. It happens. It feels like people's home life are just like pressure cookers, just waiting to explode.
You know what it is as well, guys? It's like with this reading that we've got here, and it's perfect. But I've spoken about this before. it's okay when we're thinking in a logical and like rational kind of way of thinking. But you know, when we have some of these sorts of coming and starts playing with the head, all of this becomes harder to do. You know what I mean? It's like we can't control what others do and how they live, and but what we can control is how much news we watch and listen to.
Yeah.
What we got there, but the only problem is like even when people are putting good stuff out there and now what we put in and we think it's good, but the way some people might listen to it and react to it, especially if they're going, let's say they're already going into a dark place and then they read something, they could read it in a different tone or they read it in the wrong way. And we're trying to keep positive, but for some reason, even if that was a positive, meant to be a positive thing that we've read or whatever, but for some reason we've read it in a negative way, and then all of a sudden it makes it all even worse. And like you're saying with the pressure cooker and the point and being at home, and all of this adds on to it. And I know it's saying it's like trying like what we watch, what we listen to, we can control it, but sometimes what we do, what we put in there doesn't help, does it? And if we're not in a rational way of thought, I think sometimes it's harder to get out of it, you know. And with what's going on now as well with COVID and that, and like you're saying, it's been a whole year, and I think there's a lot more people struggling to control, like, and get the positive from things sometimes. And I think, you know, I just sort of put that out there because that's why I couldn't answer it before when you first asked me when I'm reading about it. So when I was reading now, the way it was sitting with me, it was like, yeah, I get it, but it's not as easy as that sometimes, is it? You know? Yeah.
No, because
You know
I hear you.
Yeah.
it's just there, isn't it? It's just all out there at the minute.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like it's like Christmas, right? For instance, and this, as perverse as this might sound, I was quite what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of thankful, not thankful for the pandemic, because look, I don't have people being hurt and that sort of stuff, but I didn't have to get up and go around everybody's house on Christmas Day. And I suppose that's where I'm coming from, really. Do you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah, I missed you this year, Ian.
mate, I've still got your present here, by the way.
I've kept the crackers.
Yeah, but you know, I didn't have to get my pajamas this time. And normally, it's sort of as if it's tucked away. Look, please,
Yeah.
I'm not realising severity and the impact of the problem, but it's just something it comes up when I read that. What I do read is like, but you know what? There's been some parts of it, and it's going to say again perverse. There's been some parts of it, if I'm honest, and I try and be, that I've been thankful for.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I agree. But lots that I'm not.
And you feel guilty then, didn't you, a little bit? Do you know, you feel, do you know what? I shouldn't really be thinking about it. Some people's family have died, do you know what I mean? And people are ill and that sort of stuff. But it's about that. I mean, I don't know if you've had it yourself, Shay, but I've had clients before who bad situations have happened in their life, but they've been thankful for them happening because it's suited them. Do you know what I mean? And I've had to work with the guilt with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think there's lots of positives to come from negative situations, isn't there?
Yeah.
As you put there, I mean, you know, an example of that would be where everybody's been separated. I think a lot more people are making an effort to touch base with people and just ask, how are you? And start to realise how precious moments in the flesh together are. I think it's really changed perspective on that. I mean, with what we do, Ian, I mean, we've had social contact pretty much right the way through. I know I was furloughed for quite a while. But then again, you know, in many ways, I was quite thankful for that because it gave me the opportunity to tap into some creative stuff that I've not done before. You know, I've written three books for my children, and I'd never have done that. You know, I probably would, but it would have took me years, you know. So there are positives you can draw from it. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a dreadful situation, but you know, it's how you process it. I get that, but I think also every individual situation is very unique, isn't it? So what might be a positive for one wouldn't necessarily be a positive for another. I mean, like you say, where you've got, you know, the schools are closed down. There is a lot of pressure on mums to to feel like they're teachers, and they're not teachers. You know, they're not trained to do that. You know, in parenting, we are their first point of call, but you know, teaching is a profession, and I think parents put a lot of pressure on themselves to, you know, for their children to excel. Whereas personally, I just think the whole world's just been put on pause, and it's not time to push your children to excel or to feel guilty that you can't do the same job, or, you know, I think you just got to do the best that you can, and that's different for each individual, isn't it? You know, and at some point, you know, let's hope we get through this, and, you know, public schools, you know, the schools can pick it up and move forward. I'm sure. I mean, you know, I go back to my school days, and not to sound too flippant, but, you know, I was an average student pretty much all the way through, other than the subjects that I loved, and in them I excelled. And later on in life, it wasn't any of them subjects really that put me in the position that I'm in now. So I think in the great scheme of things, you know, when you look at the bigger picture, I think people will go on to succeed in whatever it is that they want to go on and succeed in, if they want to succeed in it. And, you know, hopefully, you know, parents can cut themselves a bit of slack. It's not easy, is it? It's difficult.
Yeah, and I think it's like for me, my boy's 7, so it's no great shakes. Do you know what I mean? He can read, write. It's okay. What I do worry about is the social interaction element of it all, because he's just stuck with his mum and dad all the time. Do you know what I mean? He's not, you know, any family or stuff like that. Because we're not strict, but we abide by it. Do you know what I mean? We don't really go out too much. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't really get to see anyone. But I don't think the world's ever going to be the same again. Simple as that.
Right. Yeah. I think you're right. Scary thought, but true.
Yeah. So with that in mind, and I know that the sort of the direction we wanted to try and go in, because we and try and use, for want of a better word.
Sorry, you've frozen here.
Yeah, well, be aware, you keep freezing, mate.
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you take the hosting, will that be better? Are you able to take the host?
Know, mate.
See if you can take the host.
Have you got to change me to the host, mate?
Look.
I
wouldn't have a clue.
No, what? I have to do everything for you, don't I?
No, I'm pretty sure because you got it through you, lady. Oh, mate, you froze again, mate.
Faking it. What was you saying, Ian? I didn't catch what you were saying.
Yeah, what we want to try and do is what we've got Sherry Wills especially is some of the questions I wanted to ask was where do we stand for women getting help for mental health issues at the moment, Sherry? Is there enough out there? Is there not? Is there any advice you could give somebody who might see this, that if they're struggling a little bit, where they can go to?
So it's the same as, in terms of accessing support, it's the same as I think the stuff that you've already mentioned on previous episodes. I think the problem right now is that there's no face-to-face support for anybody. So it really is about utilizing telephone, text services, anything like that, really. And I suppose, like for me, because of the work that I do, I suppose what I'm really interested in is helping people to develop a better relationship with themselves, something that's self-supportive. We might think about self-compassion, self-kindness, and practices like that. Because for example, my daughter has a referral into a service for PTSD, and she's been waiting a year for some support. Mm-hmm. And she's had some telephone interaction in the meantime, but a whole year. And I think that's that's a recurring experience if you ask people, you know.
Mm.
They're waiting a long time to get some support. And the story, of course, is, well, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, half the staff are not at work, you know, most people are working from home, etc., etc., etc. You know.
Which it wasn't easy getting that sort of support before, was it? So it's going. So I suppose it sort of taps into what we were talking about earlier. We've me saying there's not so much expectation on me.
You froze again, Ian.
Am I back? Back?
Yeah, you're back now.
If you've got any other Wi-Fi, anything else connected to your Wi-Fi, it's probably good if you can turn it.
Only a 7-year-old.
That's probably what it is. Some other things connected to the Wi-Fi.
You know what? As well, I'm right next to you. Let me see if I can take my phone off it and stuff. See if that works.
Yeah. Good idea.
Operator.
That's a crazy amount of time to have to wait for PTSD to get some help. You know, that is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, and maybe I don't know if I'm saying this right. Maybe the services might be guilty of this, but there's less expectation on us to do stuff now. So maybe the services, there may be parts of that that's getting a bit apathetic and going, I can't be expected to do this because we're in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Trying to get his computer off here as well.
I think it's scary in other things as well, because I know there's a lot of people trying to help people. And I think all the intentions are well and good, but I think sometimes because all the intentions are well and good, but there's like, I mean, not even proper training, I mean, just like little bits, but sometimes I think things might get said and it could make the situation worse sometimes, you know, because there's always some like group, some are putting something together. And then now I understand that the intentions are totally 100% for good, yeah. But I think sometimes you have to be a bit careful, because if you don't know what you're talking about, sometimes you can make the situation a lot worse, you know. Well, there's been videos and I've seen things, interviews and stuff. And I think sometimes you're like, wow, you know, not that like, you know, it's not that because it's an interview. It's just that like some things, like things are said sometimes, and you think that shouldn't really be said in this atmosphere or in this environment, not atmosphere, because it could be triggering other things. But because it, like there's been no training. When I mean training, I mean like even just a minimal. It's like because it's not been researched. They think it's okay to ask certain things sometimes, and you think, and you could be releasing like, I don't know, there could be some trauma elements or anything like that. And then when that's said, that's a big thing, and you can't be bringing it out while we're online and stuff like that. Well, I don't think so, and that's why I was. Yeah. That's where I'm coming from. That's why when I read that thing, like where it sits with me, because obviously this is what we do all the time anyway, and I watch things and I read things, and like you think, wow. But like sometimes it could be just from my point of view, how I'm seeing it, the way I want to deal with something, or I want to deal with that kind of interacting that way. I don't know.
Well, Matt, you're sorry, Ian. I was going to say, Matt, you're informed by some practice and some experience and what have you. And what a lot of people have got is personal experience, and there's something in that, right? Because the whole mental health field wasn't a field until a certain point in time. Like the supporting of people who were struggling didn't, you know, there was no requirement for that to be professionalized or even commodified, if you like, as it is now. Like you would have had people in your community who helped people out, who looked after people, who, you know, when we were connected in communities in that way, and you might have to go back quite far in history to find it. But the professionalization of care is something that's happened really in the last 60, 70 years, isn't it? You know, so one of the things that has happened has been the rise, if you like, of peer support, online peer support. You know, we used to call it like mutual aid, and But actually, there's a whole lot of kind of self-help groups where people are supporting each other online in forums. And I guess if we put our ears to them as practitioners with a bit of training, we might be a bit concerned, we might be a bit alarmed by some of the stuff that we're hearing. But then at the same time, we can have a bit of faith that there is something going on where people are trying to help themselves and help other people get through. And I think that some places, it would be some of those groups actually, you know, it's helpful for them to know about mental health first aid. It's helpful for them to know about mental health first CIC, knowing that they can approach you guys and get some support and get an introduction and get an understanding and an experience that doesn't undermine, if you like, their intention or their capacity to do good for each other anyway. Oftentimes, like, how many professionals do you know who you wouldn't send your dog to for treatment?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, I just think that I've so many professionals that I've met like that. I just think, no, no, I wouldn't send my enemy to you for treatment.
You're completely right.
Yeah.
You see some people out there and you see the damage that they're doing, and you just like, it's just like they're stomping all over people's psyche things. Or what they're doing is they're throwing their ego onto them a lot of the time, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's just the same thing what you're talking about, but yeah, it used to really sadden me to see. I mean, to be fair, the reason why I even started my first counselling course is because I was living in a dry house, and we all sat around a table on a Saturday morning, and it was great. We'd all sit there, talk to each other, but at one point you think, am I doing more damage here by saying what I'm saying to this person? Because we out of the goodness of what we was trying to do, we was actually doing more damage, because we're going, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, and maybe that's okay what I should do, but we're telling other people to do it as well. And when I finally done a bit of training,
Again, mate. Sorry.
I'll turn everything off, mate. I don't know what else to do.
Ian, you've got two screens up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it off.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, is it off?
Yeah, mate, that's better. It's just us. Yeah, what was you saying, mate?
Yeah, the reason why I even went and did any training is because, and I weren't trying to do any harm, but the person who's not trained, sitting in a therapeutic situation, trying to give advice, inevitably can cause damage, because there needs to be an element of awareness and training where you go in. You can suggest stuff, do you know what I mean? But I just found that I was sitting in lots of places and listening to other people's ego telling me how and what to do. Do you know what I mean? And I found it a lot. Used to find it a lot in fellowships and stuff like that. But once there was a bit of training involved, it made me cringe, thinking, shit, the stuff we used to say and do. Do you know what I mean? And now that I know better, it's not about what I think you should do. It's about how do you think you should get through this. Do you know what I mean? And that's the whole difference, isn't it?
So a few years ago, I started a project called the Listening Post, and what we had was a number of trained people who were coaches and what have you. But the purpose of it was to just show up somewhere and offer a space for people to talk, and your only requirement was to listen and to do absolutely nothing else. You could do anything that helps somebody to talk more, but absolutely do nothing other than listen. And in the end, we moved it so that actually anybody could do it, because everybody knows how to listen, and everybody knows what it feels like to be listened to. And so I'm kind of on the line of that. If you're offering counseling or therapy or coaching or, what have you, fine, yeah, get trained. But to support another person in life, You don't need to be trying, but you do have to listen. And sometimes what people need to understand is how to step away from their own internal chatter and noise to be present for somebody else. And that, that requires practice, doesn't it? So if you're not used to doing it. But then at the same time, right, that when your kids come and they grab a hold of you, you know the difference between dad, can I have, and actually, dad, I need to talk to you. And you don't have to think, oh, how do I listen now? You just show up and listen. It's a state that we can all, we absolutely have that kind of mechanism built in. We don't even have to think hard about when to switch it on. We can just see it when it's time to shut up.
So I think that's one of the most important parts of the course, of the mental health course. And some of the most powerful times I've experienced within that course is when we do the listening exercise. And you can't do it on every one of them because sometimes there's time constraints that don't allow it, which sounds a little bit contradictory, really, because I'm saying it's one of the most important parts of the course, but sometimes you don't get to do the exercise. But when you actually say to somebody, do you know how to listen? The first thing they're going to say, yep, I know how to listen. But you know what? Listening is an absolute art. And I was saying it the other day on the other episode.
You froze again.
To me, it's like golf. I must froze again.
Yeah, no, you're back, mate. You're back. I can make out in between.
I don't know why it's doing it. Don't know.
Sorry, mate, I am listening.
It's like golf. Yeah. One day you can do it, and the next day you can't. And I think sometimes it depends on where you're at. Do you know what I mean? Whether
definitely,
whether you can pull it off. Just because you get it once, don't mean you've got it.
Yeah.
You have to practice it constantly. And as soon as you go into a situation thinking, I know how to do it, you stop listening. I think half the art of listening is thinking, I've got to listen. You did try and train yourself to listen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You thought what Cherry was saying earlier as well. It's like, yeah, we can listen. Yeah, it's good. We can do it. We can train people to do that, or to think they can. But the thing is, what you were saying there, it's like we all think we can listen because it's easy, but it's not. A lot of the time, most people, let's be honest, when they go, yeah, I'll listen, people always come and talk to me and go, yeah, but you're not. You're usually listening to reply. You're not listening to understand. And I think that's a major thing there is what with all people. You go, yeah, I can listen, but you're not, mate. You're just listening to put your own point across. And that's usually where it messes up. You know, just sit there, be quiet, and just listen, man. And you'll listen, and you'll be surprised at how much people talk and how much you miss usually, because we're already trying to fix stuff or go, oh, that's my. Because you're usually saying, I'm meant to say something there. But instead, just chill that out, man, and just let them talk. And when it goes silent, they go silent.
So I like that the other day about your Jack Club, Cherry, that there was just some silences, and automatically you start to feel a bit uncomfortable and think, should I be saying something there? You do, didn't you? But the nice thing was, it was acknowledged, and it was like, no, we like a silence here. There's no issue. Don't mean run out of things to say. It means you're actually processing what you've said. And sometimes that bit of time when you're talking to someone and you don't reply, and they'll go, what? You're not replying? And you go, I'm just processing what you said. And you watch their face go, what? You go, I'm listening to you. I'm just trying to work out, can you help me understand this? And that can be a magic moment when you talk to someone, because they'll just go, this person's actually listening to me. And you know, when you feel listened to, there's nothing better.
I don't know what happened there.
Nothing better than feel listened to.
Mark, have you done a course?
Yes, I have, yeah. Sorry, I've just gone off. I don't know why it's gone.
I can still see you.
You say that's better. Right, I'm back.
Yeah.
I lost you for a minute there. Yeah, I did the youth course.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, it was quite a intense couple of days, but yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I think you had a pretty good instructor on them couple of days, I think, mate. I remember right.
yeah, but that instructor had a good trainer.
Yeah, I accepted the bribes and gave some really good feedback. It was great. It was a cracking few days, and I think we all got quite a lot out of it. And like you say, I mean, the listening it is a skill, and it is something that you do need to work on constantly to develop it. You know, it's certainly one that I can always improve on. I know that much. And I think that's the same for everybody, really, isn't it? And I like that concept, Ian, of stepping back and having a silence and, you know, just processing the information. You know, it's good.
Yeah. So I love silence sometimes, but they're uncomfortable like that. But once it's like you gotta get through that first little bit, and then it's really nice. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and you can just look at each other. You know you're listening to each other. Do you know what I mean? There's different silences, isn't there? But yeah, I think that's one of the main points that we focus on when we try and teach it. That just let the silence come, just let it happen. Don't think you've got to feel it all the time.
No. I mean, I do see the other. I mean, George, you've always sort of enhanced the point of, you know, someone being professionally trained to sort of counsel. But I do believe you're right to a point. I mean, obviously it depends on the nature of what the issue is, really, doesn't it? And I think, you know, so with, you know, let's take for instance your mates down the pub or whatever. You know, they'll come along and they'll put something on the table, and then you all chew the fat as friends, don't you? And it's a local problem, and you kind of, you know, that's just generally how society has always rolled with it. And then I think as issues can sometimes escalate, Sherry, you were saying, you know, this goes back sort of 60, 70 years with the profession, if you like, in mental health. But yeah, I mean, you would have your local priest, and, you know, and there still is this system set up for people to get help. But it would normally be a religious setup, wouldn't it? That would kind of be the community counsellor, if you like, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for chewing the fat with friends. But yeah, I get it. I think if there's, you know, when we started covering some of the deeper issues, but yeah, for me, then it becomes about listening and basically just trying to put somebody onto the help that's available, because it's out there, isn't it? You know, slightly worrying with what you were saying, Sherry, about the referrals. So on the national health, I guess there's a big issue with support for counselling. But I mean, I don't know. I'm trained as a first aider in mental health, so I'm by no means a professional. But I mean, I would hope that there was charities that could assist people. Did you say it was your daughter, Sherry? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there not a charitable organisation that can help with perhaps some private help?
So I'm sure that there is.
I mean, that doesn't fix the problem that you mentioned.
West Midlands, if you think you've got like Mind and you've got Rethink, and they're two really good organisations, aren't they? You know, they're ones that we can safely recommend here, like Mind and Rethink, you know, got real credible backgrounds, good practices, and all of that. So I mean, those things are available and accessible to her, of course. But I guess the point of it is that this referral has been in play, and the system is taking its time to respond to her.
Yeah.
Quite safe. She's, you know, she, all of those things, good conditions around her and all of that. So,
yeah.
In that sense, it's fine, and she's okay by the grace of something, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Really struggling. You know, then if she was really struggling, then, you know, she'd be in touch with the crisis team. That would be what we do. You know, we'd be in touch with the crisis team, our home treatment team, or we'd be down to A&E or something like that. But I think, well, this is kind of fortunate because I kind of have some sense of how to navigate the system. But supposing I didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is worrying, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't. Like that's the thing, isn't it? Most of us don't. You know what's wonderful? On the mental health first aid training, you get this manual, don't you? This book.
That's what I was just looking at.
Really, yeah, it's just full. sources full of information, full of things that you would never have thought of that can be available and accessible. So when we think about training, and I think mental health first aid would be a really good thing to get in everywhere. You know, to get in absolutely everywhere, like year 11s, year 12, year 30. So those kind of ages as well, to get into the colleges, to get into the universities. You know, and even the folks like, I know this is a mad one, but still, you know, the folks who work for the local authority who do maintenance work on houses, like going and seeing people in their houses, and whoever knows what they might walk into.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, there's a like, I think just like Mark was saying, there's a baseline training that says, you know what, I can be here and I can hear, I can listen, and I can recognize, oh, you know what, we need some additional support here, we need some signpost you somewhere. And what mental health first aid does really well is help you to notice when that might be.
Yeah, it makes it. I think what mental health first aid does. I think good thing about it is it makes it. It tries to tackle the stigma of we're allowed to talk about this. You know, and we sort. I think on the last episode we was going, well, we understand you've got your bipolar, you've got your schizophrenia, and you've got quite in-depth issues going on there. But then there's the other side of it, which is just asking somebody if they're okay and having the confidence to go, well, if they say no, I'm happy, I'm comfortable to hear that, because I'm not going to run away. I'm going to go, right, okay, I've learned to listen. I've learned to tell myself to listen. I already know to listen, but I've learned to turn it on, you know, and get more in depth. And I've learned to be able to go, right, this is bigger than me. Maybe I can direct it towards the appropriate help that I need you to. So it's just giving people that confidence, really, in knowledge that they've already got. We're not necessarily teaching anybody anything. We're just opening up the flaps of the knowledge that they've already got and going, look, you already got this. Just tap into it. So yeah, I think mental health first aid needs to be recognised for its value, which is, you know, this isn't going away. And it's going to get worse situations. So the more people are trained, the better. And even it's like we say, it's like the assist course, for instance. It's a skill that you hope you're never going to have to use. But if you need to, you've got it. Do you know what I mean? Which I mean, as you were talking then, and I don't know why, Shay, but what was coming from me, I mean, we've got a situation at the moment, which is a year ago, we went and done training for trainers on the assist, and we were buzzing. We was like, we're going to take this to everyone. We're going to train everyone in how to assist people with suicidal thoughts and all that sort of stuff. And then bang, pandemics happened. So we haven't been able to go and do it. So, and I know me and Matt spoke about it quite a bit, but, you know, let's get 6 people together. We've got a room at Linden's we can use. Let's train them. Yourself on it, Cherry, Mark, you want to come on it? Let's get 4 more people and get the course done. And look, that's there's selfish reasons to that as well, because me and Matt need to be able to deliver it.
Yeah. I mean,
we need to learn it. Do you know what I mean? Because I said to Matt the other day, you could ask us now to go and deliver the mental health training, and we've got it. We've got it. We wouldn't even need the slides probably, because it's in us.
I mean, that good.
Because the assist, the assist. We need to go and learn the assist, and we can only learn it by delivering it. So let's get 6 people together, man, and get it done. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah, I mean,
you know, so I mean, if you're using yourself, Sherry, then we need 4 more people. Let's get a course done. Anybody who might even listen to this, let's get 4 more people on it. It's going to kind of cost you anything. Do you know what I mean? And let's go and do this on a Saturday and a Sunday and get it done.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I think it's really good. I think it's a beautiful offer. And you know, I'm sure I can, you know, bring a couple of people along. Because so a couple of years ago, this is how the listening post thing come about. A couple of years ago, one of my daughter's friends, 21, young guy, really young, she worked with him, you know, and in their cohort of friends, this guy was like life and soul, and he completed suicide. And to see, it was the impact on her and her friends that kind of stunned me, really. Yeah, so I just have a heart for it, really.
Yeah.
Just have a heart for it. I just, you know, there's an organization that talk about zero suicides, and you know, the principle is that everyone is preventable. I think, okay, let's just start from there then. Let's assume everyone is preventable.
And to know the truth matter is, it sort of is. They're all preventable. If you can provide the right support at the right time, they're all preventable. I listened to a TED talk yesterday, and it was. I even
Bros, mate.
took. Right, am I back?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, you're back now, mate. Yeah.
Right, so listen to a TED talk yesterday, right? And this is a few of the notes took, but these are abbreviated, my abbreviations. So got a woman called Diane Page. Listen to her TED talk; it's amazing, right? Suicide happens when pain exceeds the ability to cope.
Yeah.
What an amazing way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are victims of suicide. The illness kills them. Suicide is the symptom.
Okay.
So the mental illness that they was going through, suicide was a symptom of it. That was their way of getting out of it. Do you know what I mean? Because they just couldn't handle what was going on for them in the end. What else?
Yes.
With Diane Page, it's absolutely stunning. It's 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's all it is. But yeah, we want to try and get it out there, this assist. And we feel like we've done the training and we've done nothing with it. We're not about earning money, Cho. I mean, you know Matt well enough by now. It's not what we're about. But we've done this training. It cost us well, it didn't cost us anything, but it cost the company $3,000 a piece. Do you know what I mean? And we've done nothing with it. And I'll be honest with you, we'd prefer to have some people on the first one that we do that we know, because we're going to trip over a few times. But and what?
Really? Yes,
What
really.
it is as well, like with the assist, sorry, it's like it's about, like, you know, it's about living or dying, but like giving them that third option. What's going to keep you safer now? It's not about stopping that train of thought, because that's a big thing. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. We're not going to do that. It's about, right, what's going to keep you safer now? And that's what it's all about. And, you know, I'll talk, because, you know, the way I am, I'm very passionate about this. And because we am coming from construction, and that's why we did do it as well. You know, another company did it because like 2 people complete suicide within the construction industry every day. That's way too many. It's way too many on any frame, on anything. That's a lot of people when you think about it. And when you do the numbers, it is. And then, you know, and I know that structure works with the assist. Give them something. What's going to keep you safer now is because when I was in that dark place, and then I couldn't see any way out, and that was the only option. And to me, it was like, you know, there's that saying out there where it's not that you wanted to die. I just didn't want to live the life I was living. You know what I mean? I just done. And then when me and you met, and we had that coffee, remember? And he, like, unbeknownst to him, what he did was exactly what the teacher on the assist. He didn't try and fix the problem for me. Not there and then. I was having a coffee and a croissant. That weren't what it was. You know what I mean?
Oh, you got a croissant?
Yeah, man. Scaffolders with croissants. I love them now.
Yes, you paid.
Yeah. Oh.
No, Lyndon.
You've been extreme, very much. But yeah.
Oh,
like,
sorry, mate.
No, it's true, man. Because that's what's good about it. You've got to try and normalise this, because it is normal. As soon as we keep going, oh, let's talk about suicide and the way it should be. Let's try and make it normal, because it's a real thing. It's not something that's got to be kept in the dark. It's not something that only happens to crazy people, because it's not, mate. It happens to us all. You know, I'm not having a go here. I just think it's funny, because you don't have to apologise. Let's make this bit. You know, suicide isn't funny. Of course, it's not. But we've got to try and make it more accessible for people to talk about it. Because if we can do that, we're already knocking down the stigma and discrimination. And like when we was in that coffee shop, eating that croissant, right? Which I was like surprised because I went, actually, all right, this is nice. This is never had one before in my life. And then we're having a coffee, and then he asked me, you know, he goes, so what's going on, man? He goes, you thinking about suicide? And I went, yeah, I am. And like it was just like massive. Now when we talk about the valve on the stress container and all that, it was like and it weren't for him to fix there and then. You know, it's not for him to fix. You know, but it was just like he was there listening, and he gave me a third option. Look, I know you're going through this. We ain't gonna be able to fix it right now. It's gonna be a long slog to get over. He goes, but what's going to keep you outside from now? You tell me what's needed. What do you need? That's what he asked me. What's going to make you happy right now? We're not happy, you know, my depression's over. What's going to keep you all right for now? No. And we was able to get through it. It's only because he asked me and spoke to me, you know. And that's what the assist is. It's about that. It's about giving you that third option, because there is that third option.
Yeah.
And it's about listening, and that's what we've been giving back to and all that. And like maybe, you know, because you do learn it on the mental health first aid training and that, but it's about that listening thing. And if we can get that in there, you just listen. When he rang me up going, do you want to go for a coffee? I was like, nah. So I'd already decided what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know? And then Rowan had a coffee. It was all right because I had a croissant. I like croissants now.
He baited you with a croissant.
No, what happened, right? Sorry to interrupt. We was on a mental health course in London, East End of London, right? And he's told the story about the suicide thing, and it's about croissants. And then we got in the next day, right, to do the second day, and there's 2 croissants on the table. They bought us croissants. And I didn't clock it, did I?
I was going, sweet, sir.
And he went,
did you say, where's the coffee?
Yeah.
No, we had the coffee.
You got a croissant there? And I went, yeah, whatever. And he's like,
you
you ain't getting it. He's like, you ain't getting this, are you? And I went,
because I'm going, sweet, sir.
But then I'm like, I've got cheese and I was going,
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's a mate. That course in East End of London was absolutely stunning. We got there and we was proper prima donnas. It was like, room's not good enough. Where's our lighting? What's my motivation for this?
But wait, it was raining and the roof was leaking on your head.
Yeah.
Which is great. Okay.
You know, raindrop just dropped on my head, man. I mean, but it's the best course ever did. Best course we ever did.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Brilliant, mate. And we've done some great courses, but honestly, those 2 courses that week was wow.
So do you know what? I think we could probably carry on for a while, could we? But to try and keep obviously down to the hour, we're coming towards the end. But what are we? Let's have something come out of this. I think would be really good. Let's try and get this assist course booked. Yeah, free. If you come with 4 people, Cherry, it's free. You know what I mean? Let's just get it done. Let's get it out there. Do you agree, Matt? Yeah. Hello, we're froze.
Yeah,
Got you back now, mate.
So, Matt, yeah, we're up for that, mate. Straight for the weekend, however it suits. Let's get it done, man. Because that gets it out there a bit more as well, doesn't it? We just want to try and give a bit out. So, last sort of 5 minutes, guys. Anything anybody wants to say? I've enjoyed myself. I think it's been really good.
Yeah. I appreciate your time. It's been nice.
Fast, man. And we're here every Tuesday and Sunday, guys.
Tuesday and Sunday.
Tuesday and Sunday.
It's like Wayne's World. It's like Wayne's World, but better.
Yeah. But no, he looks like Wayne. Look, he looks like one of them.
I don't know Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. So, I mean, words from me. Thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And hopefully you'll be here Tuesday.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And sort some dates out, really, for that assist course. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let's get our heads together, get a few more people. The good thing we've got, Mark, is you can come and do it on the weekend. Then you'd probably be cool to stop down in a hotel and work time, because it means you've got somebody else assist. I think Mark would be all right, mate, with it, honestly. We could do getting somebody else from the firm on it as well, really.
Mm.
We just need 4 other people and help us muddle through it to learn it. Do you know what I mean? We'll all be in it together.
I think probably Peter Seaton would be up for it from Manchester.
Yeah. Sound. That just leaves.
Really good. And just keep us all talking about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Talk about it. I think that, you know, it's like one of those words that people breathe in on and go,
Yeah.
more we talk about it, the better.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
think that's it. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's like, because you automatically go, oh, no. Let's just get it out there, man. Let's just talk, man.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the research is out there, and you keep seeing it. That now, it's not just by talking to somebody about it doesn't put it in their head that we ain't that powerful. We're not that powerful, but by saying it to them allows them to verbalize it and think, what am I thinking? Do you know what I mean? Because when somebody's locked in their own head in that dark place, they just need somebody to stop them and say, "You all right?" That's it. On that note, guys, what a good one.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Thanks,
Cheers for your
mate.
time.
Nice one.
Catch up soon.
Okay, thanks for coming on as well.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, mate.
See you later.